Welcome to Fireside Yankees. I'm your host, Alex, with my co-host here, Nick Nielsen. And today we want to take a look at Nestor Cortes, Nasty Nestor, as Nick would call him, the people's ace. And Nestor's been an absolute phenom this season. He's finally found his groove, becoming this really ultimately best starter for the Yankees up to this point. I mean, Garrett Cole's definitely turned it on the past couple of games, but Nestor just continuously comes back and back and back again and puts together phenomenal performances. He doesn't have that high-end velocity, but the arm slots, the break, the unpredictability of his pitches make him so lethal. And we saw that against the Rangers a couple days ago. The guy was untouchable, a one-hitter over 8 innings. Like, what more can you ask from a guy who was with Seattle a couple years ago and basically was just traveling around the league from the Yankees to Seattle to Baltimore, where he started in 2016, and now he's become one of the best pitchers in baseball up to this point. But I'm super excited to dive into Nasty Nestor, Nick. But how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing really well, my man. Doing really, really well. Just finished up my semester last week. So I finished up that. So it feels good to be done with that. Watching Yankees baseball. Unfortunately, the offense at times is like nails on a chalkboard. But the pitching, as you like alluded to with Nestor, he's just one of the guys that's been doing the Lord's work in the rotation. Like I feel I was talking to Ryan about this in our last episode we did a recap on. And he and I were saying like I was saying to him, I don't know if I feel more comfortable with the pitcher in this rotation right now than I do Nasty Nestor. And for a guy that, like you said, was kind of had bounced around, had one of those MLB careers that the majority of players in the MLB have, where it's like you didn't make it to the show. Like you didn't have what it takes. And that's the sad reality. But then Nestor was like, you know what? I know I don't have that lights out stuff. I might as well try to like revamp my delivery, work on my arsenal, work on my pitches, like my cutter, especially. And now you look and he's one of, if not the best pitcher in the American League right now. It's like insane. And like you say, he doesn't throw 100, he doesn't throw 99, 98. He's beating you because he's just better than you. It's not like he's beating you with wicked stuff. It's like he's beating you with like a 90-mile-an-hour cutter. And it's just perfectly located. You can't do anything about it. So I don't know. I love Nestor. I've been sold like since last year. Because when I was looking at it, this is what's crazy. Nestor Cortes is the only Yankees pitcher in the starting rotation since June 4th of last year to not give up 4 runs in a start. Since June 4th of last year, he has not given up 4 earned runs.
That's crazy.
And everyone griped on his home runs because he gave up a lot last year. Like, I believe there was like a stretch where every game he gave up a home run in like 6 or 7 starts. But you look at this year, and his ground ball percentages are up, and his home run to fly ball rate's down. So it's like, Nestor, for last year, I think we had one game last year where Nestor had over a 30% ground ball rate. And this year, I think we've had 4 where he's had over a 30% ground ball rate. So it's like he's working on becoming kind of like that Clay Holmes, where it's like, I'm not going to let you hit the ball in the air to beat me. You're going to have to hit it on the ground. And that's what you want to see from Nestor, for a guy that doesn't throw very hard and knows if he misses, it could get sent to the shadow realm. So I don't know, man. I love talking about Nestor just because of his work ethic and who he is as a person. It makes it so easy to root for him. Like, if you don't like Nestor, you don't like baseball.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. You know, like looking at him as a pure player, he comes at you with stuff that you're like, okay, it doesn't seem like it's high end, this and that, but what's the biggest difference maker, the variable that stands out the most for great starting pitchers? Confidence.
Yeah.
Nasty Nestor bleeds confidence. He's on the mound. He looks like he's going to strike you out. He looks like he's going to kick ass. And that really is what makes me love Nestor so much, is that he continuously impresses you with his confidence, and he gets, someone hits a homer, someone gets a hit, he just forgets about it immediately. The other day, he made that diving stop at first base. He dove and got the guy out. I don't think it was actually out.
Awesome.
If you looked at it, it's closer, but that effort is what makes him such a lovable player. Aside from the 8 strikeouts he had the other day, or 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, he had 11. He had like 2 games. He had 11, 12, 8. Like, the dude just. And I never would have thought that he'd strike people out. Like, looking at how he pitches, you'd think he'd be that pitch to soft contact type of pitcher, kind of like Kyle Hendricks. Because I was trying to find a comp for Nestor Cortes, and it's really hard. But if you look at like the stats, one guy that comes to mind, and I know a lot of Yankees fans are going to roll over in their grave when they hear me say this, but 2019 Cincinnati Reds Sonny Gray threw about 170 innings.
You're going to say that.
Had an 11K over 9, a roughly 2.5, 3 walk per 9, and sub 1 home run per 9. 2 ERA and FIPS across the board. And that's basically what Nestor's on pace for right now. Like, since he pitched for us last year, he's pitched 121.1 innings, 5.3 K over 9, 1.19 home run over 9, which can go down, and then a 2.62 ERA and a 3.3 FIP. Like, those aren't good numbers. Those are elite numbers. Like, we got to start talking about this dude in the top upper echelon of pitchers. Like, I was looking at, and I wanted to try to make a D-Train Dontrelle Willis connection between them because of their unorthodox deliveries and how they how the perceived exit velocity from pitching really impacts them. But I was just looking. I'm like, this may sound blasphemous, but if Nestor pitches 200 innings this season as doing what he's doing, he'll have a better season this year than D-Train had in any season of his career. And isn't that wild? Like, Dontrelle Willis, one of my favorite pitchers as a kid, and I'm just watching someone that's like better than him, like casually just go up there and do little shimmies, try to get out Shohei Ohtani with anything and everything. Like, we're watching a movement. Kids are wearing nasty Nestor mustaches in the stands now.
Love
we
it.
may get a nasty Nestor's chambers next to Judge's chambers.
I was about to say, look, I love Aaron Judge. He's earned his his court in the outfield.
He's earned his pinstripes.
but Nestor, in my opinion, right now is the fan favorite. Like,
he should be
the fan favorite, and he should be, because
he's a guy.
You look at what he's done this year. I mean, one of the metrics that stands out to me, he has the lowest barrel rate of his entire career right now, giving up at 5.6%. He's throwing that cutter more than he ever has in his career. 41% of his pitches this year of his fastballs are his cutter, and that cutter single-handedly shut down Texas the other day. He only threw at 23.6% last year. He just added a cutter last season, and now it's fully taking form.
Yeah, he's like lowered 41% of his time that he throws it now.
So 41% of his fastballs.
Okay.
So it's about 50% of his fastballs are going really towards his cutter percentage.
He's still
so
amped it up though.
He's totally amped. I mean, he's throwing the cutter a lot against Texas. He struck out like half of those batters with his cutter, and it's interesting because it has the same. If you look at it like, pitch by pitch, like his fastball and cutter, it looks like a fastball coming out of his hand, but then it just takes that slight dip down, and batters are just whiffing over the top of it. They can't figure out if it's a fastball or it's a cutter, and that game he's playing with them has become so lethal.
And he's winning that game every time.
Exactly, and then he throws in those sliders. He throws in even more, and it just becomes such a dangerous pitch for him. Like his changeups, his slide, and the arm angles. Like, you can never figure out what he's going to do with his legs or his arms, his arm slide. It's impossible for him to figure out. It's really impressive to see what he's done.
Like, at the end of the no-hitter, he, like, as you know, the 7th inning, he came out there and he walked 2 guys, and everyone's like, pull Nestor, he's got 4 walks, it's not going to happen. And I'm sitting there like, if you look at the walks that he's issued, they're like not like bad walks. They're like, you should probably swing at that pitch, but you just didn't. And then in the 8th inning, he came back out there and he shortened that arm slot, got the strikeout, which is like, what the? And then he gave up the base hit and was pulled. Well, like, that's the thing with Nestor. If he doesn't have something that's working, he's not going to like grunt about it and just like push through it as if you're like walking through quicksand. He's just going to change up his delivery a little bit. Maybe if that pitch isn't working, tweak it a little bit and throw a different variation of it, and then keep doing his thing. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Nestor Cortes look like flustered, upset, pissed. Like, he just looks like he wants to do his job and pitch and play baseball. Like, he talked about it after his no-hitter almost, where he's like, I just want to play this game as long as I can and make the most of it. It's like the quote in Moneyball. Like, every day everyone's told, like, you can't play the children's game anymore. You just don't know when that day is going to be. So seeing Nestor capitalize on his opportunities, he should be an inspiration to like any baseball player in the world. Like, this guy was a 36th round pick, DFA'd by 3 squads. And now he's arguably the Yankees' best pitcher, the New York Yankees. Like, this, it's just an awesome story all around.
It is, and you don't see stories like this very often. There's a couple of metrics that I do that stand out to me. One of them being his swing. So percentage as pitches a batter swings at outside the strike zone. It's a career high at 33.3% right now. He's getting a lot of batters to swing outside the strike zone. And another one that stands out is his first pitch strike percentage at 71%, another career high, up over 10% from last year. He's throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, and he's baiting batters with those first pitch strikes to get them to swing outside the zone. Like, what he's doing, and give credit to the catchers as well for calling.
Trevino's been amazing,
unbelievable,
the best framer in baseball, and it's not even close.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. And pairing him with a guy like Nestor, who they're just in such good chemistry, and they're calling these games so well, and they're baiting these batters to make decisions, and his arm slots, everything they've done. The Yankees have done a phenomenal job with a select few players. They've ruined a couple of other guys,
Yeah,
but there's
of
a
course.
select few. Of course, they will. They will ruin a couple guys.
Mostly
But
the position players they ruined.
right. And Duhar, even Gleyber Torres is playing
Frazier.
well. He's better now. Frazier,
We had
you
McKinney for a
know,
while, Florio, the list
yep.
goes on.
Florial is, I think, injury related,
Florio
but
just isn't a major league player, and I
yeah,
like Flo. He's just not a major league player. Like, there's a problem when you strike out 40% of the time in AAA.
yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Yeah, I think there's some. So there are like when you're the Yankees and you're focusing on hitting strikes hard. That's basically their slogan:
Yeah,
hit strikes hard.
the exit velocity boys.
Yeah, exactly. Some guys just are not good at that. Some guys are better contact hitters by nature. And I think like when it comes to Florial, like you said, he just strikes out a ridiculous amount. Like he doesn't hit strikes hard. He hits strikes lighter. He needs to be, taking a more
He's like our
conservative
Lewis
approach.
Brinson. Like, watching him
Yeah.
play reminds me so much of Lewis Brinson back when he was on Miami. And
Mhm.
it's like you watch you play, and you clearly have the tools to be very good and very special. And there's a reason people thought so highly of you earlier, but it just hasn't panned out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at other guys like Volpe, and you look at Jason
Perazza and
Dominguez. Like those guys right now are struggling because
yeah,
they're having a lot of trouble transitioning to that next level of talent. Like of course, Volpe is in Double A now, and then Dominguez is in Single A. But they're just having a tough time like adjusting to that like swing really hard to hit strikes, and like they're striking out a lot. They're not hitting as many homers. I think Dominguez specifically is interesting because he's a switch hitter, and I think he's only able to split those hitting reps in half, right? He's
exactly.
half of them are at left, half of them are at right. It's going to take longer for him to get to where he needs to be offensively. But with
once
that
he
being
clicks,
said,
dude,
once he clicks,
once he
going to be
clicks, it's going to be
dangerous.
over. Like, this
The
guy's
dude
going to
is
be
the
insane.
dude's got it all. The dude's got it all. Like he has all the traits to become a phenomenal player. It's just going to take him a little bit more time.
Like, I still
Only
think he's
20, right?
OPSing like 730 or 740 right now, because over the past week or so, he's had like a home run and 4 doubles. I'm sure you follow the man, Eli Fishman. He gives you all the minor league updates in the world. So I
Yep,
love
great
that.
stuff.
Great stuff. So I saw that he was talking about it. It's like, I think Josh Stone's now up to like 250, 342, like 442 or something like that, like 410 or something for his triple slash for the season. Which, honestly, again, everyone acts like the Yankees need to have a 900 OPS player at every position on the board to win a World Series. When in reality, that's happened like 0 times in the history of baseball. So I don't know why these fans are all acting like Joey Gallo's the problem, or Aaron Hicks, or even DJ LeGround out. Like, whenever someone does poorly, it's always they got a red target on their back. And then whenever someone does really well, a lot of the time there's like crickets. Like, I brought this up with Ryan. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if you follow like the Short Porch and all those guys out there, but I feel like there's a lot of Yankees fans that only comment on the bad and on the negative and thrive on when the Yankees
This
are
is
doing
all
poorly.
fans of all sports.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
not just Yankee fans.
But the Yankees
Everybody,
just seem so toxic about it. I'm
I
like,
mean,
dear God, guys,
it's
why
toxic.
is Hicks
Believe
getting
me,
attacked like he's just like
it's toxic.
you think this dude just passed the Supreme Court banning of Roe v. Wade by how much hate that Aaron Hicks gets? It's like, guys, Aaron Hicks
He
is a
walks a
good
lot.
baseball player. He walks a lot. That's what he does. And like everyone, like,
You
his
watched
like hustle
Moneyball?
yesterday. Yeah, why do we like Aaron Hicks? Because he gets on base.
Exactly. I
And
mean,
then it works out. Like, granted, he needs to slug better than like 250, but like, we're not
also he's
paying Aaron
injury
Hicks to be a
prone.
slugger. Yeah. And if
That's
and
the other
Aaron Hicks is
reason.
changing his approach this year, is what we wanted to see. We didn't want to see Aaron Hicks go up there swinging for the fences, grounding out, popping up, and then getting injured game 40. Like, I'm fine with him not slugging if it means he's getting base hits, walking a ton, working the counts, and playing good defense. Like, that's the thing I will say whenever I watch, like, kind of going back to Nestor and all the pitchers this year. I feel like there is that newfound confidence because the Yankees have a competent defensive group behind them now, to where it's like, okay, I don't feel like if I make a mistake, it's going to ruin the entire game. Like, unfortunately, it happened for Sevy with Glaber's error yesterday, where he like kind of biffed it, and then 2 runs ended up scoring that inning, or 3 runs ended up scoring that inning. But like, when you have guys like Rizzo, IKF, DJ, Donaldson, not even counting the outfielders, where we have one of the best in the world and Aaron Judge in the corner, that goes a long way as a pitcher when you know I can make a mistake and my defense has my back. Like, last year, that was not the case. Last year, I felt like whenever there was a ball hit into the ground, like infield, I'd like turn away if it was hit hard. Like,
Yeah, I mean, look, knock on wood, but whatever the training staff did this offseason changing their routines, diet. I don't know what they did, but
Something.
the bill of health this year, knock on wood, has been great.
You say that
Been
now.
great.
Tomorrow, everyone gets TJ.
That's what I'm saying. That's the Yankees way. But look, usually, like every year, the Yankees are just consistently battling injury. Like every single game, there's guys out. This year, everyone is healthy
It's
except for like
crazy.
parental leave or like some like arbitrary
Yeah, like Hicks had a
reasons.
kid. Okay, that's awesome. Congrats. That's fine by me. Miss games all you want for having a kid.
That's what I'm
Just don't miss
saying.
games for a hamstring injury.
Yeah, exactly. They're all in good shape,
Like
and
I think we have Timmy Lowe. That's the only one that's on the IL right now that I can think of
right,
because he's
and that
got
was a
the
lat issue,
the lat issue.
and Rortvet, right,
Yeah,
from the
but
Twins, but
he's
he
healthy now.
came
He's
here
coming
from
back.
that.
He just hit a
Yeah,
home
yeah,
run. So it's
right.
like,
He also came here with that injury,
yeah.
so I'll
And that's
throw
the
in
thing.
that.
What do you think we do? Kind of, we're nearing the end of this episode here. I wanted to touch on this a little bit because Ryan and I talked about this a little bit in our last discussion. The Yankees have a bit of a predicament now at catcher where
Offensively.
Higgy, I hate saying this because he's been a long time Yankee and he's been in this system for so long, but Higgy needs to be optioned or something. We cannot keep doing this. Trevino is incredibly good defensively. Like his defense is better than
He gets
Higgy's.
hits too.
Yeah, and he had the clutch walk that set up Judge's at bat. Like had he not walked, Judge
Absolutely.
wouldn't have gotten to come around. So
Yep.
it's like once Rortvet comes back, you have that initial idea of we were going to platoon lefty righty with Rortvet and Higgy. But now Trevino's kind of taken over the spot. So do the Yankees leave Rortvet in AAA when he's healthy? Do they send Higgy down? Because I don't know exactly what his service time looks like. What do they do when they have three catchers that are all kind of really good defensively with the meh bat?
So that's a really tough question, right? It's a really tough question. Rortvet, last year I think he hit like 180 with the Twins. He did
Hit well
not
against
look.
righties though.
He does hit, and look, he's another guy. Like he's powerful. The dude is
Mhm.
absolutely jacked. Like he
Yeah,
is a
he's huge.
powerful hitter. Like if he adjusts to the Yankees mold and that hit strikes hard mentality, he's going to be a decent hitter.
Yeah.
But what is his strikeout rate going to look like? What is his on base percentage going to look like? Can he get walks? Can he walk? Is he a patient batter? Those are all questions that we have yet to answer. If Higashioka, I think the Yankees kind of rolled into this season knowing like they would be platooning at catcher no matter who it was. Rortvet, I think, definitely was involved in those plans, but they went and got Trevino because Rortvet was not ready based on the injury. I think that right now don't fix what's not broken. The Yankees are winning games. Their pitchers are absolutely kicking ass.
It's insane.
Do not mess with that rhythm right now. Even if Higashioka's not performing well offensively, he's still catching Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole wants him.
Yes,
That's his guy.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, do not mess with it defensively. Offensively, hopefully he comes around. The offense is like doing just enough to push them over the edge. They were kicking ass a couple weeks ago.
That's what I don't get. This team is like 1 week they decide to score 35 runs in 6 games, and you're like, this is
insane.
great.
I don't
and then
know
the next week it's like spare change, ma'am, please, spare runs. It's like, come on, guys, what is this? Nestor didn't get run support. Gumby didn't get run support. Severino struggled but didn't get any run support early on. Like I wrote an article for Empire Sports Media like that you looked at, and it's like the Yankees sometimes score at will when they want to. And then the next couple of games, it's like they scored 5 runs against Texas in three games.
It wasn't on homers either.
Yeah, and it's like, this is Texas, guys. We're realizing we're facing like Matt Brash and like these are not good pitchers. Like what is this? Like John Gray went 3 innings of like shutout baseball against us before he had to be removed. I'm like, this is the same John Gray that was so bad that Texas was like, yeah, well, whatever, screw it. What happened was we'll pinch you in as our number 1 starter with the 7 ERA, and we couldn't get hits. But that's the Yankee way. I feel like the Yankee way is to put all the attention on the pitchers, especially the guys that are like trying to burst out. Like this year, I feel like the unsung heroes of the team have been Nestor, Tyone, and Montgomery. And like coming into the season, I don't mean to be rude, but I feel like every Yankees fan said those 3 were our worst 3 starting pitchers. And I think as of right now, they're the 3 best. Like Cole, I will say, Cole has turned it around the last couple of starts, and I wasn't super worried. But I do worry a little bit about like it's kind of how I had with Michael Pineda when he pitched. Like I worry that there's just some inner demons and some weird ass voodoo shit going on in Cole's head when he's pitching that sometimes means he's unhittable and he puts like a curse on you. And other times it means he can't locate his stuff and he's just going to get frustrated and mad and keep beating his head against the wall.
His demon is anger. When he gets mad, when he gets mad during a game, he sometimes loses it. Sometimes it helps him, but sometimes he completely loses his control
because he's not Mad Max Scherzer. He can't go up there and just get like berserk mode. He just has
Yeah,
to be focused, be
he has to be
smart.
focused.
Like
He gets
Nasty Nestor,
angry,
he's focused and smart.
and
He's one of
he
the
forgets
smartest
about
guys
it.
I watch pitch.
Forgets about anything that happens behind
Yeah,
him.
like I guarantee you, the moment that he got pulled from his no-no, if we had looked into the dugout a couple minutes later, he's probably sitting there with a jacket on, eating an apple, like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even realizing that he just almost threw a no hitter.
yeah.
Like I feel like
But
there's so few
I
players
love
like
that.
that in baseball, and I just love seeing it. It's
Mhm.
very refreshing, especially on a team like the Yankees, where a lot of the times the history has kind of led like, oh, a lot of these guys have big egos. They play up to themselves. They play for themselves.
Mhm.
Whereas this team, I feel this sense of camaraderie with everyone. Like they all want to play for each other and better each other.
Right.
And that's why they're winning games. Like seeing Nasty Nestor like teach his pitches to Garrett and Montgomery and seeing all the pitchers talk in the dugout and Donaldson's impact. You know, I love Donaldson, so I had to mention him. Like everyone's clicking. And even if the offense isn't clicking, the pitching's clicking in such a way that we haven't seen before that this could be a sub 3-3, sub 3-4 pitching staff. Like not just rotation,
Which would
not
be
just bullpen,
insane.
everything. Like our worst relief pitchers, Wandy and Lucas Litke, and they're both very
Chad Green also
serviceable relievers. Yeah,
gives me
I forgot about
goosebumps
Chad
too.
Green, but that's just because Chad Green, poor Chad Green's arm is like a Laffy Taffy at this point. I mean, when you throw him like 140 innings 3 years in a row, he's bound to fall apart at some point. So I give Green a bit of a break, but like that's even then, like Chad Green. If you give Chad Green to say, this may be a little bit crazy to say this, but you give Chad Green to the Blue Jays, he immediately becomes their second best bullpen arm, maybe third best bullpen arm. And for us, it's like anytime he comes in, we shudder.
Yeah, yeah, no, seriously.
What a time to
Wandy,
be
by the
alive.
way, Wandy has been one of the best
Yeah.
relief pitchers we've had this year, and that was I did not see that coming.
Neither did I. Like we got him from the Braves because the
And
Braves
Clay,
got him for like nothing from the Giants. And I was like, okay. And then we got him from the Braves and I was like, wow, this guy is elite. And then Clay Holmes, yeah, we gave up Park for
even
Clay.
better.
And at the time, I was one of the people that's like, this guy's got a 4.7 career ERA.
Yeah, I was
Park
definitely
does have the
skeptical.
tools of a good hitter. And now you're looking, it's like Clay Holmes since joining the Yankees has like a .4 ERA in like 45 innings. And like he's
Dude's a
unhittable.
stud.
His sinker
Dude's
is
a
the
stud.
best pitch and one of my favorite pitches on the staff. Like I love watching Clay Holmes pitch because it's just like Ryan brought
Ground
this up.
balls,
He's like, I
baby.
feel like with him and Miguel Castro, it's just who gives a shit about where you throw it? Just throw your pitch because they have so like no offense, such bad control. If you just throw it up there, the hitter oftentimes is not going to be able to hit it because he doesn't know what's happening with it. Like that one sinker from Miguel Castro that went like that was quite possibly the most insane pitch I've ever seen, and it was like 99. And I was like, how do you hit that? Like, it's not like Nestor where it's coming up there 90, 91, and it's like he's relying on his delivery and his approach. It's like this is coming in there 99, 100, and it's like darting around, and you got to be ready to hit that. I don't know.
It's
Kudos to every hitter
impossible.
in the league. That's why I'm not there.
Yeah. There is one last thing I want
Mhm.
to discuss, and I find that this player, when he's not playing well, the Yankees offense reflects that. Okay. And that player is Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hasn't recorded a hit in 4 games, right? And the last time he recorded a hit, the Yankees scored 9 runs. When he is playing well, when he is getting on base, the dude is basically the catalyst for that offense because he is at the bottom of the order. He gets things going. When the Yankees scored 12 runs a couple days ago, like 2 weeks ago against Kansas
Yeah.
City, he had 2 hits in that game.
Yeah, and I
2
think he
runs,
also
2
worked a
hits.
walk. Could be
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
mistaken or but
The
like
next day he worked a walk.
yeah, when he's getting on base, that's the bottom of the lineup right now is a black hole. When the Yankees
Mhm.
are losing games, even if the 1 through 6 are struggling, you know that a lot of those guys are going to turn around and provide a spark. Like
He's
even
been on base twice in 4 games.
yeah, but before yesterday was crazy is that Donaldson had the highest OPS during during the 7-game hitting streak, whatever, at 720 in the 1 through 6. That was the highest OPS. So it and the bottom of the lineup though, they like you said, when IKF hits, it leads you to feel better about the 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8,
Higgies
the
of the
Higgies, the
world.
Trevino's, the Marwins if they're behind him. Because when IKF gets a hit, at least there's someone that's one competent on the base pads and causes the pitcher to have to think about that. And 2, hustles and runs as hard as he possibly can on every ball and put in play. Like the one where he hit like the squib single and then booked it into the double was one of the coolest plays I've seen. I was like, the Hawaiian hustle is what we needed. Like that spark in the bottom of the lineup is huge. And when he goes over, the bottom of the lineup usually goes over. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, no, you're right. And having him hitting at the bottom of the order is essential. If they are not hitting,
Yes.
think about it. Like, if that bottom of the order, the Yankees have a lot of sluggers at the top of the order. If the
Mhm.
bottom of the order is not getting on base, a lot of the times those sluggers can't do what they need to do.
No, they can't
You know,
bring anyone in.
they're not in high leverage situations. Look at last night. Trevino gets on base. DJ gets on base. Bam. Judge hits a
Judge 3-run
homer.
home run, game over.
That's what the Yankees are missing. They're missing those like on base, those guys that get on base frequently at the bottom of the order.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would. This is like maybe a hot take, but I wonder what would happen. I know you like Aaron Hicks as leadoff, but what would happen if Aaron Hicks was 9, DJ was 1, and then Judge was 2? They'd have a lot of guys on base
I
for
like
Judge
that.
to
I
get
like
up.
that a
It's
lot.
interesting
Because
it's
9 would
not
literally
about
be a second leadoff hitter.
right. It's not about having your worst hitters at the bottom. It's about getting guys on base for your sluggers.
It's
That's
about
kind
balance.
of
Lineup
that's what
balance.
that's what I'm thinking of. So I wonder if that would be something that would
I
benefit the
kind of like that.
Yankees
I kind of like that a lot because
or
it's
vice
like what the
versa.
Royals did with Nicky Lopez. Granted, Nicky
Mhm.
Lopez is really struggling right now, but and so is Whit Merrifield. That whole team sucks right now. But like it's what they did where they had Nicky bat 9, then Whit bat 1, Bobby Witt 2. It's like that's a pretty good 9-1-2 if everything works out. You've got 2 leadoff hitters, and unfortunately, it's not working out for them. I mean, I'm sure you saw Whit Merrifield has a 0 WRC plus this season. 0. Worst amongst all qualified players. 0. Like he's like OPSing like 240, 220. It is one of the worst seasons I've ever seen. And Yankees fans wanted him. So glad they didn't get what
There you
they
go.
wanted.
Imagine that hostility.
I was about
Imagine
to say,
that
thank God they're not the
toxicity.
GMs. We'd have him. We'd have Correa.
Yeah,
Freddie
I mean, our
Freeman.
team would look different. Look,
It'd look different. Like
we
Correa is not as good as IKF. We can all agree on that.
yeah, right. But look, what Cashman has done this year has been quite impressive.
Yes.
I was definitely skeptical. Everybody was hating on Cashman.
yeah.
So far, this team looks like look, if their offense starts to click consistently, this is the best team in baseball, and it's not really close.
Because they're pitching
aside from the
so much
Dodgers
better
and
than
Mets.
everyone's.
Yeah, I mean, look, this feels like the start of a golden age in New York. I mean, look across the board. The Nets were just obviously in the playoffs. I mean, they may lose a couple guys, but Yankees, Mets, up and coming. They're on the rise big time. The
Knicks may
Jets,
get Mitchell.
I love what the Jets are doing. Knicks, who knows what to do this offseason? Maybe add a guy like Rudy Gobert or Mitchell, like you said. The Giants, still in the dumps.
Yeah, but we're making
ways. They had a great draft, and they have new, hopefully good. They have by record and by just experience. The coaching staff's a lot better.
Fantastic coach.
Dable's a fantastic coach. Wink Martindale's a fantastic coach. They stole a guy from Minnesota Vikings, Andre Patterson, known as one of the best defensive line coaches in football. Like they've done a good job putting together a competent staff. And now we're looking at Boston kind of slowly. I mean, Boston's still doing pretty well. Red Sox not so much, but
no, but the Celtics are really
doing
good.
well.
The Celtics carry.
The
Patriots are kind of falling off, though. I think this year the Patriots finish 4th in their division. That may be a hot take.
Look, I think that they finish above the Jets this year, but I think next year, I think that the Jets are going to overtake the Patriots.
See, I think the Jets could do it this year. If Zach takes that step this year, then that team is a problem because they just got Breece Hall to add to their running back room with Michael Carter. And then they got their wide receiver core of Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis. And I don't know if they're going to get rid of Jamison Crowder. They probably should because he really doesn't have a spot there.
They just don't need him.
That's the thing. Like, why would they signed Jamison Crowder to a 3-year deal
Denzel
last year?
Mims still.
Yeah, why would you do that? That just makes no sense if you're the Jets. You signed Crowder to a 3-year deal last year for like $40 million.
They have money.
And then you draft a receiver, and now you have like 4 receivers that a lot of people would argue are better than Jamison Crowder because Jamison Crowder's value only really comes from the slot and those short routes. It's kind of like a small version of Michael Thomas. But
injury, they're both injury prone.
But like you said, the era in New York now is just it's exciting. It's lively. Like I feel like there's a new energy found with baseball, especially that there hasn't been in a while, and I've missed it. Like I've missed seeing the sold out crowds. I've missed seeing everyone go absolutely bonkers on a walk off in May. Like this is awesome. This is what I wanted to see. This
looks like a championship caliber team for the first time in a couple of years. Like the last year, especially, it's so many losses just strung together. Losses. This year, it looks like they'll lose a game, but then they'll win 5 in a row. And
there was no fight last year. This year, there's no quit.
They care this year. They care.
Awesome.
And look, there is no coincidence that they needed to move on from a couple guys. Being Gary Sanchez. They needed to move on. I mean, Clint. They needed to just replace some of these guys. Josh Donaldson. The dude is a lightning bolt. You know what I mean? Of energy. The
It's kind of
guy,
crazy. I
he
love it.
brings that passion, man. He talks shit. He does what you need to do to get your
Awesome.
players to rally. Like that little scuffle they had between the
He and
Toronto Yankees
Heineman.
yesterday. Yeah, yeah, right.
I don't even
Tyler
know
Heineman,
who he
whatever his name.
is.
Tyler Heineman. Like here's the thing, in my opinion, that little move, that little smack talk, that little scuffle, that little situation fueled Aaron Judge to hit that homer
Oh,
to win the game. Like
he plays
that
with more
little thing,
emotion. EJ,
more
even
emotion.
DJ's wearing his emotion on his
They
sleeves,
want
and
to
I
win.
never thought I'd see that.
Never.
Like DJ,
Never. He's
I know this
quiet.
could be crazy, and people could correct me on this, but I felt like I very rarely saw DJ going out and about, hanging out in New York over the past couple seasons.
Yeah,
And now
I've
it's like
never
everyone's
heard
going
of
to
it.
Rangers games, Nets games. They're going to dinner.
Anthony Rizzo's chugging beers.
Yeah, Josh Donaldson is trying to like be a menace and blow out Aaron Judge's birthday candles. Like everyone loves each other. Like the photo booth shots of Nestor and Judgy and
It's
Chappie.
special.
Like this team is special, and I know we say it every year because we are Yankees fans, and we say it because we want to believe it. But I truly do get a completely different vibe with this year's team. And starting with Nasty Nestor, the people's ace, it trickles down. Like I feel like he's having a similar effect on that offense or on that pitching staff, like Aaron Judge, like Josh Donaldson are having on the offense, where it's like Nasty Nestor goes out there, shoves, comes back to the dugout, tosses on his jacket, and is just talking with the boys. And everyone's like, Nestor, did you just notice that you went out there and pitched 6 innings of 12K baseball? And he's like, yeah, but I got to start in 5 days. And it's like, that's what we need to see. So I don't know.
Right,
I love it. He
because
embodies the Yankee way.
it's not about, and this is the last thing I'll say, this is not about individual performances for them. This is about the end goal. Like the end goal is winning a championship.
Number
And
28.
who the
That's
hell
all that
cares?
matters.
Who the hell cares what Nestor Cortes did on May 9th in the middle of the season, towards the beginning of the season, if you're not going to win a championship, right? That is the mentality they need to have. It's not about individual stats. It's not about any of that BS. It's about what the team does together. And I think they finally found that. And you know what's interesting to me is they're doing it without Brett Gardner as the clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought Brett Gardner was a great clubhouse guy. He was a leader on the back end.
I thought we were going to bring him in as a hitting coach this year, like a bench coach or something.
Look, if there's injuries and stuff, they'll call on him. I have no doubt about that. But knock on wood again. But here's the thing: like they're showing that they don't need him in the clubhouse. They don't need him on the field. They don't need Gary Sanchez. They needed a couple of interesting. I wonder if the Yankees play this psychological game with like different personalities and stuff in the locker room. I don't really know. There must be some science behind it.
They have to
they have to have something. So I'm really interested to see how this team continues to develop. How the starting pitchers continue to pitch, and offensively, if they can start to pick it up, and if they can really become a well-oiled machine, it's going to be exciting, man. I'm really excited.
Right now they're chugging along. Like we need to get this. We need to get the offense up into Mad Max death race look here, where it's just like rolling into the desert, no care in the world, no worries at all. That's what I want to see with the offense. Like instead, we're like when Mad Max was tied on front of the truck with the offense. It's like, what's happening here?
But, and Nestor's carrying it.
Nestor's that's the thing. Like Nestor's driving it. He's like, what a lovely day. Oh Lord. But I don't know, dude. 21-8, I believe, for the Yankees. 21-8. That's really good. And really at the end of the day, you look at the other teams that are doing really well. And I know this may sound blasphemous to my fellow Mets fans, to the Mets fans that are out there listening. But I'm not as huge of a believer in the Mets and the Angels and those guys' hot starts as I am in the Yankees, simply because I just look at the teams on paper and I think the Yankees are considerably better than both teams. And the Mets are, in my opinion, one injury away from chaos. But it starts with the pitching. Like Nestor trickles down. Cole does really well. Monty does really well. Tyone does really well. And even Sevy shoves. Sevy's our worst starting pitcher right now. And he'd be a lot of teams' number 2. So I don't know. I'm just happy, man. It just feels good to have good Yankees baseball, because once the offense starts clicking and the pitching starts struggling a little bit, that's what I'm saying. Like it's gonna like bounce around, Where like we'll have that stretch of games where we have 3 or 4 starts in a row where it's not amazing starts, but the offense will do their job. And then at one point here, I hope it's sooner or later, both sides will just meet in the middle and we'll just part the MLB like Moses did the Red Sea and absolutely annihilate everyone on the way to number 28. That's just a fever dream.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see what happens the rest of the year. Of course, we will be continuously providing content to you great people. Hopefully you'll tune in and then follow us along as we kind of follow this Yankees team. Seems to be a really successful season so far, but appreciate you guys tuning in.
Knock on wood again.
Yeah. Today, they got a lot of games coming up. I think 22 games in the next 23 days. It's not many breaks. We're going to see what they're made of this upcoming 3 weeks. You know,
a lot of different lineup constructions. I can tell you that much.
A lot of different lineup. Yep. and you know, the DJ LeMahieu will be playing multiple infield positions, giving those guys off.
The off day carousel continues. Here
exactly. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting to see. The strategy's got to be perfect, and they've got to really be able to supplement any losses and whatever it might be, and stay healthy. If they can stay healthy throughout this, it's going to be a great sign for the future. But guys, really appreciate everyone tuning in to Fireside Yankees. Make sure to drop a like and subscription below on YouTube as always, my friends. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace, people.